Hi kids, it's Auntie Kay. Hi baby Wyatt. Hello Austin. Hi Breebird. Hi Matthew. And hello Nene. Auntie Kay is so excited to share today's story with you guys because when we were kids, with your mamas too, we used to read stories from Aesop's Fables. And I'm so excited to be able to share a story that was a favorite of ours when we were little. And with Aesop's Fables, there's always a lesson to be learned. So at the end of it, I want to know what lesson you learned from the story, okay? Are you ready for story time? Today's story is called The Hare and the Tortoise from Aesop's Fables. The hare was always boasting about how fast he could run. "I'm the fastest animal in the land," he would say. One day the hare asked, "Who will run a race against me?" The other animals were fed up with the hare's boasting, but no one would accept his challenge because they were afraid of losing. No one, that is, except the tortoise. "Ha ha 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 ha!" The hare laughed out loud. The other animals gasped. The tortoise just smiled. And so preparations for the race began. The fox drew up a map of the route. The race was set to begin the following week. Whoosh! For the next 7 days, the hare showed off, speeding around the meadow, dashing up hills, knocking animals over, and upsetting just about everyone. The tortoise just watched from afar as he chewed leisurely on grass and leaves. The night before the race, the tortoise went to bed early, smiling happily as the sun went down. "Early to bed, early to rise," he said to himself. Meanwhile, the hare stayed up late partying with his neighbors, the badgers. Their noisy antics kept everyone awake. Shh! The next day dawned bright and sunny. The tortoise awoke refreshed and full of energy. He ate a hearty breakfast, then got ready for the race. The hare wasn't feeling quite so refreshed. His late night meant he had hardly slept at all. He felt exhausted. He poured himself a large glass of carrot juice and yawned loudly. Out in the meadow, the animals were gathering for the race. There were stalls selling cakes and sandwiches. Balloons and banners had been tied to trees. It was starting to feel like a party. At last, it was time for the race to start. Feeling more like his usual self, the hare took his place at the starting line. "Get ready to lose," he said to the tortoise. The tortoise just smiled. He didn't seem in the least bit worried. Then the fox began the countdown to the race. "On your marks, get set." The whistle blew and they were off. The hare dashed away at full speed around the meadow, then up the hill. He stopped to look back and saw the tortoise plodding along far behind. Grinning happily, the hare did a little dance on the hilltop. As he ran down the hill, the hare grabbed some crunchy lettuce from a field. He stopped for a mid-morning snack. Yummy! The sun was warm and he decided to have a short nap. After all, he had a late night and the tortoise was far behind. In the meantime, the tortoise carried on. He went up and over the hill. He saw the hare snoozing under a tree and marched bravely past. The hare didn't stir a whisker. Much later, Feeling stiff and cold, the hare woke up with a start. He looked up at the sun and saw how it was low in the sky. It must be almost evening. He feared the worst. Panting and sneezing, the hare flew around the rest of the route at top speed. He ran like he'd never run before. But in the distance, he heard shouting and clapping. He could just make out the tortoise nearing the finish line. With the finish line in sight, the crowd roaring him on, the tortoise staggered on as fast as he could. A few minutes later, he crossed the line to huge applause, and the crowd shouting his name, "Tortoise, tortoise, tortoise." The hare lost his own challenge. From now on, perhaps he wouldn't be so boastful. Slow and steady wins the race. The end. Well, what did you guys think about that story? Wasn't that amazing that the hare lost the race? Have you guys seen how fast a rabbit is? You might be thinking, Auntie Kay, how come they had different names? A tortoise looks like a turtle and a hare looks a lot like a rabbit. Well, you're absolutely right. And actually, I have a couple pictures to show you so that we can see the differences in both. So on your left, you see a turtle. And what do you see right away that's a big difference? Look at the shell. The turtle has a skinnier heart-shaped shell, and a tortoise has more of a round one. Another thing is where they live. Turtles spend most of their time in the water, and a tortoise will be found on land. Now, looking at a rabbit versus a hare, they look very, very much the same, just like the tortoise and the turtle. But here's a couple things to notice. Look on your left, the rabbit has very short ears and the hare has very long ears. They also have longer legs and bigger feet. And rabbits live in little burrows, which are like little holes in the ground, and a hare spends most of its time above the ground. I sure do love animal facts, and now you know a little something different about tortoises and hares and rabbits and turtles. And what about that lesson we talked about? What lesson did you learn from today's story? You know, what I learned when I was a kid was that never give up. No matter how hard something might seem, if you work really, really hard, you're not always going to win, but you don't know if you're going to lose. So you got to try your best always. All right, well, that's all the time we have for today. Until next time, Auntie Kay loves you all, and I can't wait to see you guys. Kisses and hugs. Bye now.